So let's start off with SOQL. What is it? Salesforce Object Query Language. It's similar to SQL in Oracle. You don't need any special Hibernate class or JDBC class. Once you log into Salesforce and you go to the query window or use Apex, you can access the database. This is an example. Select ID, name from account, fetches account records. There is no select star in SOQL. Okay. SOQL basically what happens is SOQL and Apex are work together. Apex is not used for anything else, but mainly it is used for writing controllers and triggers, and basically it is going to work with the data on Salesforce using SOQL. So you can collect data using SOQL into list. You can update, insert, delete, do data manipulations. You can use the trigger.new. So basically Apex is used with SOQL, and Apex is not used to create DLLs and all. Basically you will work with the data in Salesforce using Apex. Okay. Can also use where conditions and sort. So please remember one thing before we continue, that Apex is mainly used to interact with the database in Salesforce. Okay, either via controllers or either via as an integration class or whatever class you write. Basically, it is going to work with the database. So that's the main feature of Apex, and Apex uses SOQL to work with the database. So you can use conditions like where clause. And there are bind variables. So what is the bind variable? Now, for example, you have a variable in Apex and you want to implant it in the SOQL, in the where clause. That is called as a bind variable. We'll see how to do that. You can also query related records. Here SOQL is different. There is no join. We'll see that. Now look at this example here. We have a select ID name, comma from student master. And then within that we have a subquery, right? So see, there is no like student master dot name is equal to student marks. It created the student master, as I had told you all to complete the student master and marks in the admin app builder free course. So we continue on that. We can use that, or we can also use account and contacts to see. Basically, there is no outer join. Okay, there is only inner join, and the syntax is slightly different here. The complete reference is available in this link provided over here. What are the clauses you can use? Okay, so let's take a look here. So this is a simple query here which says select ID, name, phone from contact where phone not equal to null and name like. Now this is like a search pattern. So anything having any name having rows will be found, and then you're ordering it by name just like in SQL, and you're limiting it to 50 records. Okay, please try this out. How to try this out is you have to go to the query window. You have to go to the query window, and here you have to write like similarly take this query. So couple of things you have to keep in mind is, let's say select ID, name, phone from account. You have to now remember that when you give the field names, you have to give the API names. Like say for example, always use the field names. Okay, like in the case of standard objects, always use this field. Always use this field name. Whether it is if it is a custom object, a custom field, or underscore. You always use the field names and not the field labels. Okay, similarly, you'll have to use the API name of the object, whether it is standard object or account object. This is the API name. Remember these things here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say execute. Now it basically query. So if you go to developer console and go to the query editor tab over here, you can write your queries. If I say limit 10, it is going to give me 10 records, the first 10 records. And if I say show from 6th record, it's going to show me only 4 records. It's going to show me another 10 records, but from 5, from the 5th record. Okay, so offset is used for limiting the records and showing it from a particular serial. Now suppose I say where name like university, let's say UNI, say UNI. I can use the search pattern here. So it's going to show me all the records which have got UNI in them. So if you see UNI, it's common in all of them. Okay, then another thing you can do is order by name, or any field that is field can find it useful. So this is an order by name. You can combine all of this and try it out. Couple of things here you need to remember is you cannot write something like this. Okay, you cannot have two lines here in this query editor. You can write only one, and whatever queries you give in the query editor will get added to the history over here. Some more queries is like, say for example, this is a related query. So let's understand the related query. This is a big topic here. So here what's happening is telling I have a relationship between account and contact. So the relationship uses the child relationship name. So let's see how this works. Okay. Now if I go to my contact object, I have a relationship. To have a relationship to work, you need to use a relationship query. For standard objects, how you do that is first you go to the child object and pick up the contact field, and here you see the see what I'm saying here. Now you need to pick up the field which is related to the parent, which is account, and there is a child relationship name inside the field. Now this field is from where it is related to accounts, right? So there is a child relationship, so you have to pick this up. Okay, so this is what is used. So let's say select, this is fine, and then I'm going to say comma select the comma last name from. If I say contact, it won't work. Okay, so let's see what happens here. If I say what I'm trying to do is I have to inline the relationship query. Now if it says, this says that it is not found this contact. So now if I give my child relationship name, that is from account to contact to accounts, it will take contacts. Okay, this you can use. So this is how Salesforce builds the relationship. So if you can say contacts, now it's going to find out all the account and related contacts. So what it does is it shows you a list of records here and a list of records in the developer console in the log here. So it basically creates a list, and within that it shows you a list. Now if you have multiple contacts, like say for edge communication, it shows you a list within a list. Okay, so let's see how to separate these two data in the console. So let's say, like, let's take this query, and this query, what we're going to do is we're going to say ACC list equal to new list of account, and we're going to inline this, we're going to add this query within the brackets here. So let it fetch the whole list here. So it's going to get the fetch. Now if we say account a colon ACC list, so this is going to loop through the accounts, right? This is going to loop through the accounts. So let's see what happens here. So it goes, executes the queries, and it's going to show us the list of accounts. Okay, but if you want to see the contacts within that, we'll have to break it up further down. So this just shows you the list of accounts. So now, as you can see over here in the query editor, it showed a list of, it actually creates a list within a list. So what is happening is within the account list, you're having a contact list. So we need to break it down further. So for that, what you have to do is you have to say for contact, which is the data type, C colon A dot contacts. Please remember, this is again the child relationship. You need to take the child relationship name. The list which is created for the related record is the child relationship name. And you say system.debug c.last name. Now you will be able to get it. So what is happening is basically you are having account list. Within account list, you are having a contacts. This contacts is coming from the child relationship name. The child relationship name also is the name of the list which is given within the account list. So let's execute. And now let's see what's happening here in the debugger. So now if you go down, anywhere there is a contact, it's going to show the contact. For edge communication, let's add a text over here to specify that this is the contact. So we say contact name plus. Okay, so now let's execute. So wherever there is a contact, it's going to show that. Okay, So let's see the debug log. None of these accounts have got a contact. So wherever there is a contact, it's going to show the contact name. Like say for example, Burlington Textile has got contact name Rogers. Similarly, Edge Communication has got two contacts. So what it is basically doing is at the top we have a list, and on top of that list, within that list you have another list which is a child contacts. Now the same thing works for student in custom objects also, but only thing is there is a slight difference in the way the child query has to be. Here you give child relationship name, right? So you have to give a child relationship custom object name plus underscore underscore r. So let's take a look here. We have student master and marks which we have created. So student master is the parent object and student marks is the child object. So if we say student marks here, and let's check what is the relationship. So it is having a relationship to student master here. So now this field, this is the child relationship name as I told you again. So you have to come down over here. But in this case, what you have to do is you'll have to take this and add an underscore underscore r. So let's build that query here. Instead of student, let's take this field here. Let's take student master. What we're going to do is we are going to fetch the data. Okay. Now let's sketch the student master first. So first take the fields from there. Basically, we're just going to take the name and the age. So let's change this to name and age. Now if you remember, now this is a custom field, and the other ones that you're going to take is from the student marks. So this student marks, you are going to mark it over here. Oh sorry, this one, which is the child relationship. If it was a standard object, you just say student marks, that's child relationship, and stop it. But in the case of custom object, you have to give underscore underscore r. Okay. And now what you have to do here is now you need to fetch the values from student marks, which is so the field and relationship, we are going to fetch the marks and we'll also fetch the serial number. Subject, let's fetch the subject. From student marks. Now please note here that this is the important thing, that student marks underscore underscore r. If it was standard object, you wouldn't do that. And one more thing we need to make a change here is we need to make this list student list. It's going to be from student master, order by name. It's fine. And now this will go away, and this is again student master. Now when we loop through the child, we have to take student marks, the object name. Okay, not this one. This is for the query relationship. But when you basically develop the child, loop through the child records, you have to use the object name, which is student marks here. So I think we'll just create this similar start list. We'll say marks list. Now here you have to give this relationship name. Okay, remember that whenever you're accessing the array, whenever you're accessing the list, you'll have to give the relationship name underscore underscore r. Alright, so now we have c dot marks underscore underscore c comma c dot underscore underscore c. So that's fine, it's not case sensitive. We have to include this. So what's happening basically, again, what we are, the key thing here is when you query the master, you use the master object name, but when you query the relationship, you take the child relationship name of the custom object and add underscore underscore r. Okay, Then when you loop through, first is student, and then then is of course is the student marks. You use the API name. Okay, student detail. Marks detail. Now let's run this. Let's see this. Okay, so this is a mistake. Let's see why we are getting these errors from subject C, marks, student master, name. First and foremost, let's run this query from the query window. And let's remove maybe we'll remove the ordering by name now, for now. Alright, so we are going to cut the query over here. So now it's executing the data, executing the code. Some weird error here, so let's see. Let's connect again. The reason was we didn't have internet connection. Okay. So now let's open up the anonymous block again and add this data here. So what we are going to do over here is we are going to say student master, student marks. We're going to fetch the data from that. So let's execute all of this. Still having some issues here. So which is okay, Okay, I think the problem here is this has become interchanged. So let's execute this. We're having some problem with the internet connection here, so just hold. Alright. So we got this connected and we're going to go here, execute it one more time. Yeah, now it's got executed. Now it's going to fetches the data of student master and marks. So let's see. So wherever there is a Rajshekhar, Timothy, Utkarsh, wherever there is a marks detail, it is fetching the value for that. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to go through this code here, understand this better. So basically the relationship query here works like this. Okay. So this is one of the important aspects of relationship query. You have to use the child relationship name.